There gets to be a point though where the resentment starts to build. And it's
Yeah.
like, why am I the only one doing all of this? Why does it always fall on me? And so there's the frustration, the fatigue, the exhaustion. All of those are like little red lights that it's like, hey, something's not quite working.
Hi everyone, Elle Ballard is here today on our Empowered Global Women in Business podcast. And my guest today is Jen Beck. Jen, welcome.
Thanks, Elle. I'm super excited to be here with you.
Great to see you. Great to have you. I'm excited as well. Jen Beck is a mind body expert, CEO, author, and speaker, empowering high achieving women to reclaim energy, break self sabotage, and transform their health and life. How did this work start for you? What inspired this work? Why did you choose this field?
Well, I think my high achieving journey started way back when. So my mom had multiple sclerosis, and at the age of 49, went from living on her own to being in a nursing home. And and I didn't have any knowledge. I wasn't in the medical field, but I decided I was going to be the one to solve the problem because she had been on the preventative medications for her multiple sclerosis to prevent this from happening. And clearly the drugs didn't work. The doctors didn't know what they were doing. So I was going to fix it and save the day. Um, and if high achievers, we are just, jump in and do. And so I did, and I ended up going back to school for nutrition, and we were able to get my mom out of the nursing home and into a group home where we were able to have, control over her health. And her doctor said that we extended her life by at least 5, if not 10 years.
Oh, wow.
When she
Amazing.
passed just before her 65th. But so that's kind of like the first epic high achiever role that I took on, if you will. And then I stayed in the health and wellness field for the next 20 years, really working with women and a few brave men and helping them to reclaim their health and to recharge their lives through mindfulness and nutrition and mindset work and things like that. And over the course of that evolution, I got married, I had a young daughter, and somewhere about the age of 40, I had built a really successful business. This was my second business. And I had found myself in a relationship that was not what I signed up for. And I was going to fix it and I was going to make it happen. At one point, I sat in a therapist's office and she looks at me and she goes, Jen, when was the last time you did something for you?
What do you
I
mean?
don't know. I'm like, when do I have time for that? Right? I mean, I had everybody else on my to-do list.
Yeah.
My business, my clients, my daughter, my husband, like family, like commitments, volunteer things. And found myself I had kind of just become a shell of myself and just put myself on a shelf where I'm just going to take care of everybody else. And it's
Mhm.
amazing because just about every high achieving woman I work with has experienced that at some level. And I
Yeah.
think there's an awareness and an awakening when we hit about 40, 45, maybe 50, depending on how long you've been in that role of high achiever
Yeah.
and how many things you've really put yourself up against. And so I went on this personal development journey and actually started doing more root cause resolution and unconscious healing work and rewiring, old limiting beliefs and healing past conditioning that I had taken on as a kid, which allowed me to be a high achiever, great, and allowed me to burn out, not so great. And so I've gone through my own journey, my own evolution, and today I get to work with women and help them to shortcut their transformation of putting themselves back in the driver's seat, designing a life that they truly love and one that gives them the opportunity to have the physical and emotional health to live it. So we're not burning out. We're really lit up from the inside, and we can create that massive success without the self-sacrifice attached to it.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. Thank you for sharing your story. Beautiful story. Yeah. So, how does this? I mean, I know there are so many tools. You probably use a lot of tools. Um, but maybe you could share with us, how do you help women um, really move through that, because we are so wired, like, to think that way, that we have to go to get something, or we have to be in the habit of doing, right, to get something. How do you help high achieving women really just pause? And we'll talk about the pause, that's something that you offer, but you really, yeah, reclaiming their energy and pausing and realizing, okay, this is not sustainable. What is before it hits, them hard, right?
Yeah.
How can we help um, really recognize that sooner? Oh, and you mentioned the age. Yeah, I can totally
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when have you ever heard that analogy, the frog in the pot of boiling water, you put it in there, it dumps
Yeah,
it out, but if
yeah,
you put a
yeah,
frog in a pot of cool water and you gradually turn up the heat and it will boil to death.
yeah.
We high achieving women are that, right? We have been in this mode of caretaking and managing everybody else's emotions and success and all of this stuff most of our lives. And it just comes, whether it's intuitively or whether we were conditioned into it, we have stepped into this role of being everything to everyone. There gets to be a point, though, where the resentment starts to build. And it's
Yeah.
like, why am I the only one doing all of this? Why does it always fall on me? And so there's the frustration, the fatigue, the exhaustion. All of those are like little red lights that it's like, hey, something's not quite working. And it starts as a whisper. It starts way back off in the distance, and then it gets a little bit louder and a little bit louder. It becomes a tap on the shoulder, and then it's a two by
And
four
we
upside
brush
the
it off
head.
first, right? When
Oh
it's
yeah,
like a whisper, we just,
oh
okay, it's just,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yes, I'm annoyed. It's fine. Like I will,
right.
I will figure out a way to be able to get it done, and I'll work it all in, and I just keep taking stuff on until it gets to be overwhelming. And so, ladies, when you hear that whisper, when it's way back of like, oh, it doesn't feel good. I don't love that. It doesn't light me up. That's a sign for us to go, ooh, there's either a value being crossed, there's a boundary being crossed,
Mm,
or we have
yeah.
overstepped the responsibility line. Because when we start overstepping that responsibility line, we teach people how to treat us. And so when we take everything on as strong, a capable woman,
We
we
teach
also
them and show them.
disempower, right? We teach them how
Yep.
to treat us, but we disempower them from stepping into their own responsibility and stepping into their own space. And in relationships, it looks like we disempower the men from stepping in as our hero, our support, our confidant, all of that, because we got it. I got it. I can handle it. Yep, I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll do that and I'll do that. And yes, you're capable of it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And so it's those little moments of like the little whisper of like, I'm irritated that I have to do that. Or I wish I could sit on my butt and do nothing. Like those kind of comments, that's your warning sign that you have overstepped your responsibility line and you have not empowered other people to step into theirs so that there is support and balance and your needs are taken care of too.
Yeah. Yeah. So powerful. So needed. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. I love it. Yes, so true, so true. And it's that habit, but then it can lead to that burnout where it's, oh, that's it. That's it. Like ignoring the voice and everything. So good. So I know you're gonna offer our listeners the power pause tips for the power pause, and we'll post links how to get that. But what is that? Maybe if you could describe it briefly.
Yeah. So one of the things I just really want to land is that there is power in the pause. We go through our life
Yeah.
doing and checking boxes and accomplishing and achieving and getting it all done. But at the end of the day, there is an exhaustion, there is a depletion. And so the Power Pause checklist is 17 different recharging strategies for high achieving women and ambitious women to take a moment and put themselves first. Because when we don't take care of ourselves and we don't pause throughout the course of the day to bring our stress levels back down or to just give ourselves a break or a moment to breathe, it's not just us. A lot of women go, it's selfish to take care of my needs first. It's selfish to take, to manage what I need and want without taking care of everybody else first. But ladies, pause and think about how you feel at the end of the day when you've not paused and all you've done is run from one appointment to the next checkbox, to the next checkbox,
Yeah.
and so on. And you're depleted at the end of the day. Who gets the worst of you or the leftovers of you? It's your family.
Yeah.
And it's the ripple effect into everyone else that you touch. So if you don't want to do it for yourself, cool. Do it for them so that they have the best of you, not the last of you. So there's simple things that you can do in 5 minutes or less to be able to really de-stress, to take care of your own needs, to just start to be a human being again instead of a human doing.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah. And when we feel ourselves, when we feel our cup, we feel so much better. But then we can give so much more. I know when I'm depleted, I'm just not giving my 100% to my loved ones. When yeah, when playing with my granddaughter, I know that for a fact, and I think it's just we are just so used to it, and that's what we know, and that's what we're taught to do. But yeah, we just we cannot do it all, and we shouldn't do it all, and then it's just for our own. So such a great 17. That's amazing. Power pause tips. Um, for those listeners who listen to us, if it sparks interest, check out the comments. We will be posting the link how to get that resource for you. I want to talk about the lessons. We are on the Empowered Global Women in Business podcast, and I want to talk about building a business. And it's, of course, it's so close to the topic we're speaking about, because in business there's so many. I mean, we're talking about life as a general. In business itself, if we separate, there's so many moving pieces, right? So many things to do. How has this journey been for you, building a business as a woman on your own terms? And I love, of course, your niche. I love, and thank you for doing this work. But how has this experience been for you?
It has been a journey. There
Yeah.
have been, I mean, I think building a business is a roller coaster. There are peaks and then there are valleys. And, I think back to when I first started my business, it was a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
And, feeling like I needed to do all of the right things, all of the right, all at the same time and do everything perfectly, which
Hmm.
that's a recipe for burnout right then and there. And so then I would get some traction and I would figure out a system or two and okay, that's good. And then the market would change or the algorithms would change. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've got to learn it all over again. And when I was really struggling with perfectionism and accomplishing and achieving and all of that, it was really hard because I overthought everything. And I got to a place where it was like, oh, if it wasn't perfect, I wasn't going to do it. And so I would stress myself out. I would recreate something new, and then I would launch it, and then it would be awesome, and I'd be like, "Yay, what's next?" And instead of rinsing and repeating, I would go create something new because I got bored too easy because I was always up for the challenge. And since I've really gone through my own healing journey, I mean, I was married to a narcissist, and that's a whole different story for another day. But as a result of that, my confidence really took a hit, being
Yeah.
devalued and being, in that relationship. And so coming out of that, and now as a single mom to a toddler, and it was right in the beginning of COVID, and I mean, it was like all of the things. And so it was one of those times where it was like, okay, I've got to figure this out. And thankfully I was doing the healing work that I help other women with now, and I was able to get to a place where the perfectionism wasn't running the show, and I was creating from my heart and really coming in from service versus needing to do all the right things and build it the right way and do all of that while still supporting them and loving the work that I do, seeing women that had been struggling in their business and weren't able to show up and weren't able, there's one gal, she was in a $25,000 a year coaching program and she'd been in it for 5 months and hadn't taken any action. She was showing up to all the calls, but she wasn't actually building her business. And we had worked together for about 3 months. And in that time, she started taking massive action. And her revenue was growing and it was growing and it was growing. And she was putting herself out there in a way she hadn't in the 35 years of business she had been trying to build. Multiple businesses, none of them really successful. And now she's at a place, just 3 months later where she's lit up. She is out there cold calling and putting herself out there and building systems that allow her to increase her revenue, but not burn herself out in the process. And so for me, it's been a roller coaster of transformation myself.
Yeah.
And, now it's really leading this movement of helping women to create success without sacrifice and helping them to really reset the rules for what success looks like and redefining it for themselves, and then helping them to create the systems and the tools to be able to really walk that out on a day-to-day life. But at the same time, heal all of the conditioning and the programming and all the reasons why we do what we do. So it's clearing the path to get to the success that really lights them up and really helps them to be happy, healthy, and
Beautiful. Now that you mentioned the movement, thank you for sharing that, by the way, that journey. Yeah, it's a good journey. For me, it's a best personal growth skill, right?
yes.
To build and to grow the business. But you mentioned the movement. Can you elaborate on the movement? How you see it, which I love that that you're creating, that you're working on that, supporting women in that arena. But can you go into more details on how you envision it to be? What are the pillars? I don't know if you have that, whatever you have, you're ready to share right now.
Yeah. No, thank you. I love that. So it's really helping women to reset, reclaim, and rise. So it's resetting all of the rules that they've been playing by, being everything to everyone, and identifying and resetting the beliefs, the core beliefs that have been keeping us in this space where we are everything to everyone. And then reclaiming is really reclaiming their voice, reclaiming their worth, their identity, and who they truly are. There's so many women I talk to, Elle, that they have amazing careers. They've created incredible businesses, and they're still looking for what's next. What's that next level? What's that next piece? What's that next thing? What's that next X, Y, or Z? And sometimes these women are generating $500,000, over $1 million in income. And they're like, is this all there is? And, the response I hear most often is, I thought it would feel different. I thought the success would bring me happiness. I thought there would be more fulfillment attached to it. And these are women at the peak of their careers. And there's just this hollowness, this emptiness that they're experiencing. And so to help them redesign their life so that it brings them joy. So they wake up in the morning like a kid on Christmas morning going, oh, this is my life. I get to do this today. Versus the laundry list of all the to-dos, right? And all of the things that I have to do, and their brain never turns off and it just continues to spin. Like I remember those days and the amount of anxiety that I carried around and the amount of constant, just churn in the back of my head. Even when I was present with my daughter and my husband at the time, there was always things that were like the to-do list.
Yeah.
And nobody else could help me with it because it was in my head and it was my job. I took it all on myself. And so it's helping them to reclaim their role in the driver's seat of their life. So it's creating some boundaries that really they can hold that serve them. It's identifying what do I really want my life to look like and feel like and be like? Instead of just filling the role, to really redesign their lives and reclaim who they are and who they were meant to be. When we're babies, we didn't wake up, we didn't come out of the womb and be like, oh, okay, I need to earn my worth. I need to earn my breath. I need to perform and be perfect. And I'm not good enough as I am. So I need to figure out how I can be able to make everybody else happy so that I can be okay. Like, we did not come out of the womb like that. But
No.
that's the role that so many of us have taken on throughout our.
Yeah.
And so really helping them to reset those beliefs and reclaim who they are so they can rise and really live that life that they wake up every day grateful for, thrilled to live. And it feels like a vacation day. You know, I mean, sometimes you got to work on vacation. Yes. And it's the feeling, it's the essence of who they are that is truly shining through and truly thriving. And they are present and engaged and connected and passionate about their life and who they are, not all of the stuff that they're doing or who they're serving or how they're changing the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Reset, reclaim, rise. I love that. Yeah, beautiful framework. Well, thank you for sharing about that. Love the work you do. Love, love, love it. If there is anything else that you wanted to add before we move on to the rapid fire questions.
No, thank you. It's just such a heart space for me, having gone through that journey myself. I
Yeah,
love that I get to help other women to
amazing.
shortcut that path so they can step into their greatness.
Yes. Awesome. Well, if you're ready, we're going to move on to the rapid fire questions.
Sounds
Ready?
great.
Awesome. Your favorite book name is?
I think right now it's Running on Empty by Janice Webb. It's a deep book, but it's a very powerful book. There's been lots of influences over the course of my life, but I think that one for me as a high achiever, it was like shining a light on where some of this came from, and then giving some tools and some resources to help women start to step into that best version.
Yeah.
There's so much that we take on and we blame ourselves for, and we make ourselves personally responsible for the world. And this book just highlighted so much for me that that's not reality, right? And I think it's a book that serves so many people. I've recommended it to a ton of clients, and it's really served them as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Summer or winter? Best international or favorite international destination to visit?
Ooh, it's a tough one. There's several. I would say the Amazon River was one of my favorites, and then Florence would be the other one.
Nice. Okay. And the final question is things that you have discovered about yourself recently. Thing that you have discovered about yourself recently.
That is a whole long list. Let me see. What's something I've discovered about myself recently? That I love being strong. Like, I was one of those women, like I did all the health pieces and stuff like that, with the exception of working out at the gym. That was not ever my love. And I found a gym that I do love now. And it is like, I mean, I'm 51 years old and I can climb trees with my daughter and I can squat her on my shoulders, a 75-pound kid. And there's so much. And I wish I had found that sooner, but I'm so grateful for it now. And I love being able to push that and see how much I can do and how fast I can go and how far I can go. And I've always been competitive, just not in that space. Yeah. And so it's just been really fun to be able to play with that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on our podcast today, Jen. Great conversation. Great work. Thank you for all you do. And again, thank you. And we will post links for how to connect with Jen in the comments of this podcast episode.